Hi, Machi. Thanks
Hi.
so much for taking the time to meet with me. I'm very excited to learn more about your business. It is a great opportunity to get your advice on how to become a successful entrepreneur.
Hi. Yeah, it's my pleasure and honor to share some of my humble experience over the last 5 years.
Mhm.
Entrepreneur.
So, Machi, why did you start your talent academy business?
Okay. Well, I have been with the corporate career for like 17 years before I start up my own business, and I still remember when I started my business. It was right after my marriage. So, meaning that during the honeymoon, I submitted my resignation letter and start a new journey. So, the reason why I set up that business, on one hand, is like starting a new page of my
Mhm.
personal life and professional life. And number two is I think running a business has not been my one dream, I can say,
Mhm.
to really focus on my area of like interest and expertise in people development area and business. And I think that will be one reason. And the second reason is I think that as an entrepreneur, I will enjoy the freedom and the flexibility in terms of running my life. I think that those are the trigger points at that moment.
Now I know your wedding and your new business, Talent Academy, happened at the
Mhm.
same time. So about 5 years now.
Yeah, it's been 5 years.
For 5 years, would you like to share any lessons learned?
Well, as a start, I do have like two partners, and they've been like coming from the same field. So we formed the company together.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Fortunately or unfortunately, after like 10 months, we are separated. So good news or bad news? Looking back, it is a good news because at one point, there are some external opportunity that arouse a dialogue amongst the partners, and with that opportunity, we do find out that we share some slightly different values. And at that point, a tough decision whether I should follow the team decision opportunity or not. And at the end, I didn't. And we started. I separated with my partners and turned into my own business. So I think through that lesson, it's a happy separations. I
Mm-hmm.
was because through that experience, we discover some different values in terms of the vision and how we operate the business. So one lesson learned, I think when we are like forming the partnerships, we have to think through how similar are our values so that we can stay longer and stick together. And thereafter, as I become on my own, I can partner with people who share some more similar values, and eventually it run very well. And currently, I have around 6 to 7 good partners that we are hands in hands doing projects together. So similar values, similar direction and mission are critical, I think, when running a business.
That's something new that I learned about your new business, especially for the first year. Like you said, after 10 months, there a separation because of a different value. So good lesson. Uh, do you have a second real life example that you would like to share with us about another amazing, awesome lesson that you learned?
Yeah, I think, well, as a new startup, I think it's important to get enough like business and projects so that sustain the momentums and ensure the revenue is coming in. I think the lesson learned is to at the beginning stage, I have to work extra hard. So meaning that we plan a lot of seats, talking to many potential clients, and treasure every project that I get. Make sure that I did a good job for them, because I think nowadays business is very competitive. I think doing a good job is a basic. So
Mhm.
you have to really wow your customers so that they trust you, they like you, they will come back to you, they also promote you. So I'm glad that in the first and 2 years, and even now, so we work hard to add values to our clients, so that we ensure that the words of mouth can be spreading around. So I think there's no shortcuts. So we have to work even harder in order to gain, yes, I would say.
That's good tip. Not just deliver great service. I believe, because I know you for some years, I know you always deliver the best. So you wow us all the time. I'm sure that your customers, most of them are repeat customers, and also they're willing to refer you to their buddies and partners and all that.
Yeah.
What risk have you taken for this business? Especially you got married and starting this, so I could imagine.
Yeah, yeah. I think as a start is taking a big risk, because usually after marriage, people will look for stability, right?
Mhm.
Particularly at that time, I work for a multinational bank. There should be a lot of stability. So I think that's the first big risk to take. And I think secondly, I think there are a number of decisions to find a good office locations. I mean, as a very small entrepreneur, sometimes nowadays people work flexibly at home.
Mm-hmm.
That's already good enough, because our services usually happen at the client site. We don't actually need a space. So I think there is like a decision to really in small office, so that I think that I can stay focused in terms of like thinking about new ideas about projects and planning and so on. So I think that's one small risk, because it more like money in renting an office. You know, Hong Kong, the rent is very high on that. I think that's number two. Number three is actually I do have so-called the social responsibility. So every year we take some intern, because I'm a registered organizational psychologist. So I do feel like we like to develop the next generation of psychologists. So every year we take some interns from the Chinese University of Hong Kong. And I think last year I took the risk to usually I take one intern, but last year I took three. Because there's one extra demand from City University.
Mm-hmm.
So having to take care of three interns between like 2 to 3 months together with other projects, that is on one hand satisfied, but on the other hand that takes in terms of taking away of my time.
Mm-hmm.
But looking back, I think it's a horrible and trivial experience, because that developed them, and actually the younger generation also contribute some quite interesting and fruitful ideas. I mean, that can put into the projects. So those are the main risks I've taken, I think, over the last 5 years. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Matchy, you brought up a very good point. Now we're talking about millennials, those who are in their 20s. I imagine the three interns that you had this past summer,
Yeah.
they probably are millennials, right?
Yes, they are. Yeah.
So millennials are the major market. Like you said, you definitely benefit from their participation.
Yes. Because well, I think they are like in the generation of like technology. Quite a few interesting findings. Whenever like I delegate some tasks to them, I ask whether is it challenging, or you have any difficulties, and the usual response from them is it's very easy.
Oh.
So they are very confident and courageous to take up some tasks, number one. Number two, well, I do ask them to have to develop some so-called like the video, the social media messages, and so on. Like after a training, I ask them to videotape and make up a short video. I think their response time and quality is very high, despite some of them don't have experience in creating video, but they can be so quick and efficient to come that up. So I really appreciate their courage, confidence, and willing to take up challenges. Yeah, I think those are the observations. But I'm lucky to have some young people to be with.
Maybe you consider me too. I can be an intern.
You are more than qualified enough to be an intern. Yeah,
Machi, you did
yeah,
mention right at the beginning, you enjoyed freedom to be your own boss. Can
right.
you tell us more what freedoms have entrepreneurship given you for the past 5 years? Except the first 2 years, you probably worked very, very hard. But
Yeah,
what?
yeah. I think yeah. The first 2 years is as a new business you have. I mean, when there are like client project, you definitely say yes. Is fall into your area expertise. Yet at a certain point, discover that it's not healthy in order to have like a sustainable growth in terms of the business as well as myself as a person.
Mhm.
Because most of the time we do like do run workshop and seminar that really consume a lot of like energy. So eventually, when I'm doing some retreat and step back and think about how I'm going to sustain my energy in the business, so start to the pace. I mean, the pace the business. So meaning that not every request we say yes. We
Okay.
start to say some no, so that I can have some more space. And beside that, I think apart from delivering projects, creation, creativity, and relationship is important. So I make sure that I have time to step back and to have some recreations and also recreate some different thoughts and some ideas and actions so that I can move forward more effectively. I would say. And I think the freedom will be as an entrepreneur if I can pace my business, meaning that I can be in control on how I spend my time.
Mhm.
So I feel good that I spend more time with my family, my wife, and my daughter. So
Mhm.
I think that flexibility uh, that may not be easy to enjoy when I am having a corporate career. Yeah. So those are the good things.
Well, I agree with you because we are Facebook friends. I always admire the trips that you took with your lovely wife and very, very cute daughter, Myra.
Yes, yes. She has been actually growing up with my business. She is now 4 years
Hmm.
half. Yeah. Yeah.
Very, very cute. And she looked like you both. Like, I can see the similarities.
Yes. She has our DNA. Yeah.
Machi, what are the little things you did to get you where you are today?
Um, I think a little.
I know you do big things, so I'm a little curious to know the little things so that I can learn how to do them.
Uh, I think I'm a person who is having a good discipline. So the one need to think it's for like every like during the weekend I would take some personal time to looking back to the past week and so count my blessings over last week so that I can be I don't take things for granted
Mm-hmm.
on some learning experience and also planning forward for next week. So I think that's number one. Number two, this year I'm particularly aware about being an entrepreneur, a small business owner. Sometimes you feel quite lonely. I feel quite lonely. So how can I having a network of like partnership who can support each others? So I will organize some learning trip with my partners. Like this year, we've been to Singapore and Taiwan. So I think doing those moments, we build relationship, we share, we grow together. And
Mm-hmm.
then we have made a decision that when we come back, we have like a weekly call. Although one of my partner is in Singapore, so we have been running those weekly call together so that we share idea and support each others. So I think those are like the little things,
Mm-hmm.
planning and reviewing, and make sure that we stay connected. I stay connected with my partners to get those energy. I think that's important. Yeah.
But what you consider little things actually are big things because
Everything.
commitment is important. You have the uh, really persistent, say we need to engage together the partners and went out for a trip like in Singapore, in
Yeah.
Taiwan, and your weekly calls, you may consider using some webinars since you have some partners not on site. So that could be an
Yeah.
effective tool as well. What is your vision for where you're going in your business?
Okay. I think one thing I think you whether you may be aware about like along the years, I'm trying searching on what will be the program that will be really adding values to my corporate audience. So that I come across the because I'm coming from a psychology background, and
Mm-hmm.
I got in touch and understand more about the positive psychology. So it's relatively a new baby in the field of psychology. In a nutshell, positive psychology is help to build the well-being of a person. So I think one vision is to really build a more positive workforce, leaders, teams, and employee by applying the research and principle from positive psychology. So we have been trying some some bite-sized learning for some organizations that we received some positive feedback. So moving forward, we would like to make the snowball bigger and bigger. So I think that will be one vision that we would like to build more positive and engaged workforce. Yeah.
Machi, can you repeat the learning element, the new learning element for us?
Okay.
What is it called?
Yeah. We call it bite-sized learning. When we say bite-size, is just like so.
Okay.
So the design will be like short learning program, maybe like 90 minutes to 2 hours. So we ensure the learning will be interactive and engaging, and make
Mm-hmm.
sure that people will be having some mindset changes
Mm-hmm.
and tools that they can bring back to their workplace and personal life to use.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to use this kind of like bite-sized learning to introduce the concept of positive psychology at workplace.
I see. Because when I was running my consulting business in Hong Kong, I also uh, cushioned some lunch and learn for my corporate customer. So we
Yeah.
had 1 hour per week together, the whole head office employees together. And like you suggested, just little bite size and then hope that they can learn something and then bring it back to the workplace.
Yes. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Machi, we have covered quite a bit in this conversation. Before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to chat about?
Uh, well, I think one thing that I'm looking at, like being an entrepreneur today, is more lucky than in the old days. I
Mhm.
mean that there are like more resources available. I mean, through a lot of like online platform. I think one good thing. I think in the earlier days when I'm thinking about the resources to support the business, like we need some sales and marketing, some brochures, some IT support, some website designs, and all those things. So
Mhm.
nowadays, I think it's more easy that I can get a lot of like online resources to support on that. So I think one thing is about as an entrepreneur, how flexible and open am I,
Mhm.
and how quick I can coordinate those resources will become critical. Yeah, I think that's one thing I would like to share. Of course, moving forward, I think in the technology world, I think that will be bringing some. I believe that there will be some revolutions. I mean, in my space, in the learning space. So I think as an entrepreneur, I still need to keep track on, updated about what's happening, and ensure that I can stay in front of the trends so that we can keep on the momentum and moving forwards. Yeah.
Good tips. Regardless of the industry that we are in, definitely can benefit from your tips. Stay have our ears, have our eyes open to see what's going on, and then to be the pioneer. So,
Mm.
Machi, thanks again for taking the time to chat with me and for answering my questions, being so patient. I wish you all the very best and looking forward to sharing your update.